I am on a journey, and I would like to invite you to join me. Hi, I'm Holly McNeil, the Mindfulness Architect, and you're about to listen to the initial episode of Pay Attention. And as this episode is coming out right around the holidays or whenever you're listening to it, I just wanted to jump on and tell you that this journey, this work I'm doing is always evolving for myself as well. And so I re-listened to the episode, and it's good. It's got a lot of good information about how your mind works, how you can change it, who I am, my journey. But it's also a lot from the head. And I really wanted to start this podcast out from the heart. Ultimately, my goal in this human journey, this evolution from our conditioned chaos in our head to the open flow of love and compassion in our heart, is to live moment by moment in that open heart. And so I invite you wholeheartedly to walk along this path with me. From episode to episode, you can find more about me on my website, hollymcneil.com, and in my classes or our awareness hub that has been going on for a couple of years now and meets monthly. We are in this together, this human journey away from suffering and struggle and into the present moment where we can live in service of others, grow in love and compassion, and, change the world together. Won't you join me? Hello, my name is Holly McNeil, the Mindfulness Architect, and welcome to the initial episode of Pay Attention. And thank you so much for joining me on my journey, which has become a 20-plus year journey to self-awareness, awakening, finding my power, my strength, my clarity, and my understanding of how it is to live in this amazing world and how to best live my life to its fullest potential. So thank you for being here. And I hope this is a beginning of a wonderful relationship. So most recently, I've been talking to college students about avoiding what is now being called the quarter life crash that happens to 75% of people in their late 20s and early 30s. It's steeped with anxiety and disillusionment, questioning your career choices, your life choices, what you're creating in your life, your identity. It can be isolating and lonely. And I know this crash well. And it wasn't called the quarter life crash back then, but that's why I'm here. To talk to those people who might not have hit that age yet, or if you've crashed and you're stuck and you're feeling lost and wondering how you got there, how the hell you got to where you are, you're in the right place. So I am an architect. Why is an architect talking about mindfulness? Well, 2 years after I graduated from the University of Minnesota, Golden Gophers, I was put in charge of the largest historic preservation project in the state of South Dakota. Huge for an intern, especially female in a male-dominated field. I remember having construction meetings with 10 to 15 men all standing around, listening carefully to what I had to say. I was killing it. On the outside, I looked large and in charge. I had it going on. But on the inside, total imposter syndrome. And it wasn't that I didn't give myself credit for what I had accomplished so far. I couldn't even see it. When you get lost and stuck, you can't really see life from beyond the lens of your experiences. I was so lost in low self-worth and anxiety, waking up with anxiety every day, that I thought that was normal. And by my early 30s, I had ticked all the boxes. And of course, those boxes have shifted a little bit since then. But, house, husband, 2 kids, career, right down to our pets, Mr. Fettuccine and Alfredo. Everything. I did it. I created everything you're supposed to need to be happy. Yet the weight of all that self-criticism and some poor decisions I had made just was too much. And at age 34, literally crying on the toilet in the middle of the night, I crashed, and it was horrifying. And I was so afraid, and I couldn't believe I had gotten there. And I made this vow to life, God, Buddha, the universe, anyone out there listening, please help me and I will change. Give me another chance and I'll do better. And I was given that second chance. So with my karmic debt in tow, I went out to make good on that vow. In the years between 9/11 and the COVID pandemic, I discovered some very profound truths about this amazing creative tool we all have called the mind. And it left me wondering, why the hell didn't anyone teach me about this sooner? This is information everybody should know. This is something we should be teaching our children. And again, that's why I'm here. And that's why I hope you're here to learn a few things about this incredible tool we have to create our lives. And that if we're not paying attention, this incredible tool can go way, way, way off course, creating all kinds of hidden influences in the body and the mind that we aren't even aware are there, yet we're creating from. The reason this amazing tool can get so far off course is because each of you has between 6,000 and 70,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those thoughts are negative and 95% repeat. So if we're not paying attention, this mostly negative and misguided self-talk is what we're using to create our lives. And that's just a fraction of the 11 million bits of information that your mind takes in every second. Yet consciously, you can only hold and examine a very small portion of that. And the rest, it's all running in the background on autopilot in your subconscious powerhouse, creating all kinds of habits and patterns and behaviors and beliefs you have about yourself without you even being aware. And it's actually a madhouse in there, an instantaneous collage of images, words, emotions, and sounds. I refer to it as the thoughts, emotions, and feelings highway, with horns honking and people yelling and screaming and car crashes and confusion. Yet you're creating from that chaos every day. But the good news is there is some order to this chaos. These are the things we should know about how the mind works. And again, I wish people would have told me earlier and let me know earlier, because in knowing these, it's very, very empowering. And the first one is that the mind is habit-based. So whatever you think about over and over and over again, consciously or unconsciously, but consistently, repetition is key. You'll hear me say that over and over and over again, becomes a habit, and thus your conditioning. And since most of this is flying under the radar and 80% of it is negative, unfortunately, when we're not aware, we are reinforcing these things about ourselves, so much so that they become very solid and very real. We start to take them on as our identity, our personality. We don't question it. We start to believe that this is who I am. And we live from that place of confusion. There's a great poem by Robert Blythe called The Long Bag We Drag Behind Us. And when we're children, we have 360-degree personalities. We are literally balls of light radiating out in every direction. But as we grow and our parents don't like certain things about us, good girls don't do that, good boys don't behave that way, we start to take those parts of us that we think are unacceptable and that we don't want to look at or show others, and we stuff them in this bag. And as we grow, we go to school, and it's not just our parents, but it's our peers and our teachers. And don't even get me started about middle school. We are stuffing this bag full of parts of us that we are scared to show others, and we don't even want to admit to, and all the way into our 20s. And this bag gets long and heavy. as we carry it around. And even though we over time forget what's in there, we're creating from what's in the bag. This poison starts to out. But again, the good news is the good part of this fact that your mind is habit-based is that you are in charge of your mind, not your thoughts and your habits in the bag, you. And the way you start paying attention is by pledging to create the habit of watching the mind. I've created a set of mindfulness meditation practices known as Per Love, which I'll talk about as we get further along. But the first practice is P, pledge. Pledge to make the habit of watching your mind. And all you need to start doing this is 1 minute, 6 times a day. Do you have 6 minutes in a day to transform your life? And that's all it takes to start creating the habit. 1 minute, 6 times a day. You close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just watch. Just pay attention. You're not judging them. It's like a movie. You're just noticing. It's not like you have to do anything. You're just doing it 1 minute, 6 times a day, not judging, just noticing, being curious. And as you repeat that over and over and over, 1 minute, 6 times a day for several days, it will start to become habit. And the mind is habit-based. It will start to become second nature. And growing this awareness in your mind is the first step to this self-discovery. Because the second thing you want to know about the mind is that it does not discriminate between good and bad conditioning. It's a biocomputer. It doesn't care. Nerve cells that fire together, wire together, creating whatever you think about very solid and very real. It doesn't ask any questions. And that's really, in one respect, it's kind of a bummer when we're not paying attention because, 50% of us are adult children of divorce, and 80% of children deal with some type of trauma, divorce, or worse. Like in my case, for example, when my mother was crying in the laundry room and I walked in to ask her what was wrong. And she said, without a moment's hesitation, your father doesn't love us anymore. He's asked for a divorce. And I'm instantly, my world is shattered. I've done something wrong. I'm flawed. Why am I so unlovable? And then to go on to make the mistake of putting that love and trying to find that protection and safety that I lost with my father into my stepfather, Melvin, leaving me more confused about fathers and love and touch, feeling disgusting and shameful. So those are the things that I was stuffing in this bag. That's what I was stuffing in my long black bag. But the flip side of this is that the mind does not discriminate between good and bad conditioning. So you can choose your conditioning. And to do so, the first thing you need to do is to look in that bag. And to look in that bag, you need to be willing to be a little vulnerable. You just peek it open. What are you doing? Right? And it's going to be a little scary at first, but I would say that before you look, give yourself compassion for your situation. Stop talking, right? And understand that this is not who you are. The stuff that you've tucked away, that you've created in your mind, that's actually flowed and become part of your body, these are just habits and thoughts. And with courage and this vulnerability, you can choose. You can examine them and take a look at which ones serve you. You can question them. Are these even true? Because the subconscious mind isn't going to question them, but you can. And you can toss out those ones that don't serve you, creating space for not only new habits and patterns, but also to find that amazing awareness, that amazing presence, that self that exists between your thoughts, emotions, and feelings. Now, the third thing you're going to want to know about how this incredible creative tool works is that it's not evil. It's not a bully. Its job is to protect you. one of the main jobs your mind has is to keep you safe. And it does so with the idea that, hey, this conditioning has been working so far. Let's just go ahead and keep it. It creates these laws of transformation that any new ideas must pass through. And if they don't meet the new conditioning, they're often altered or discarded. So when you go to change, rest assured, you will hit resistance. You will, this is stupid. This is never going to work. Expect it. It will be there. But on the flip side, your mind will protect whatever you create, and you are the creator. So when you go to change and you meet this resistance, knowing that these thoughts and this attack on any new ideas will come up, you can accept them. Accepting first exactly how they are, the habits that you've created, that cuts them off at the knees. If you don't engage with them, if you don't try to push them away or fight with them, that they're going to dissipate on their own like a wave in the ocean, leaving space for you to create new habits and patterns through what? Of course, repetition. Say something to yourself over and over and over again, believing it, creating new ideas and patterns like I am amazing and I can change the world. And when you do this, and when you make habits of these new ideas, your mind not only takes them on as new ideas and protects them, it will move your life in that direction. That is how the mind works. That's how powerful of tool you have at your beck and call. And so again, I'm here over the course of these podcast episodes to welcome you in on my journey that, again, like I said, started at 9/11. It took me from my hometown in the Black Hills of South Dakota to Minneapolis, to and beyond. I practiced Buddhism on the East Coast before moving across the country to live in a Dharma house in San Francisco, finally landing in Southern California, where I retired. I put two intentions out to the world because by my early 40s, I realized I had something to say. So I put two intentions out in the world. The first was to retire from architecture before I turned 50, and the second was to have the time and space to write about what I was learning. So I retired 2 days before I turned 50, and in 2017, I sat down to write. But it wouldn't be until we were all sequestered in our homes during the COVID pandemic that I printed out a book proposal that I was working on, and the book is still coming. But I looking over at the pages, I could see this path, this path of awakening, going from stuck to open to as far as you want to go, based on that 20-year circuitous route I had just taken, and culminating in the Pure Love practices, of which pledging to make this habit is where we start, by paying attention. So one of the things I love about these practices, I am an architect, and my job, I worked on large projects, hospital projects, nationally and internationally, with, teams of hundreds of people, and putting thousands of components together into a set of documents that are clear and straightforward, that these complex structures could be built from. My gift here to you is clarity, the ability to take all the teachings that I looked at in different modalities, including neuroscience, psychology, Buddhism, and spirituality, and put them in a clear set of instructions to clarity, to living a life from the heart and not the chaos in your mind. So in the next episode, I'm going to go into this more deeply. But one of the things I loved about my journey, and I still love it, and I love being on it, and I love that you're joining me on it, because it's, life is about evolving. And what I love is that from modern day thought leaders way back to ancient wisdom, they all point back to a few simple truths. And the most fundamental of these truths is that we are not our thoughts, emotions, and feelings, our habits, patterns, and defaults. We are so much more. So again, in our next episode, before we start having guests, I'm going to go into that more deeply, but I hope you come back, that you join me on this journey of paying attention to this amazing life that we all have, that we're all fortunate enough to be on, no matter what's going on in our lives, no matter where we're at. Our outside world is definitely a reflection of our inside world. So I hope as these episodes unfold, you will find some clarity into that amazing inside world in your heart, where you can live life to its fullest potential. Thank you so much. And I will see you at the next episode of Pay Attention.